We are delighted to welcome Manuela Mackert, a Senior Managing Director at Ancuva Consulting based in Germany. With over a decade of experience, Manuela is a lawyer and long-term C-level executive with expertise in compliance, holistic risk management, value-based culture change, digital ethics, ESG, and varied transformation projects in different ICT companies and industries. She says, compliance has an important key function as a transmitter to transform the increasing complexity of risks, including ethical ones, into an entrepreneurial attitude of calculated risk-taking and clear acceptance of responsibility.
Hi, dear compliance community. The ECEC is a wonderful event and I much appreciate to be here, and I really feel honored to share my thoughts with you. So the business environment is a subject to constant change, and new solutions must be found on the increasingly complex problems. You know that. And you know as well, the companies are now more and more under pressure to manage negative alternatives. They should and must act more transparently, meet complex stakeholders and social expectation of their corporate actions. And so that is all about, and this is a positive momentum, about shaping and opening new paths. And this is the new duty of sustainability. And from my perspective, it should not only be viewed from a cost and risk perspective, but also as an investment, as an opportunity. And so, for sure, because it is such complex, companies need a coordinated, strategic approach dealing with these ESG risks. And so please give me the opportunity to explain my interpretation of what ESG is, because everybody likes to talk about it, everybody likes to have his own interpretation. For me, it is an only easy thing to talk about. It is, ESG is an umbrella term for sustainability and business ethics. It is an economic action with a holistic view on monetary return and impact on people and environment. So in addition, this is the most important aspect from my perspective, it is a human-centered approach which is focusing on the comprehensive stakeholder value. And for sure, because we are a compliance guy, and it is important to be accompanied and secured by governance structures. And in the end, that is what ESG stands for me in addition. It is and it should be led from the top and integrated into business and into the culture of the company. So say this, as companies grapple with the changing risk landscape and new expectation of the business and society, this issue, from my perspective, will become more and more a strategic differentiator and a competitive advantage. So good corporate governance requires a foundation of values that goes far beyond financial aspects. And this is a jumping point for me because this covers everything. It is about transparency, responsibility, integrity, and excellence. These are the key factors for the success. And so you could see, from my perspective, ESG is a holistic focus, and so it is an overarching framework. And this brings me to the triad. It is a strategic reinvention companies have to enforce because it is a translation, the ESG aspiration, into a blueprint for where and how to compete. It is about a maximum business transformation because driving ESG strategy and means driving strategy and reporting into the heart of the business. And digital transformation as well is reflected. And so this is another point, what is normally now not such reflected, is the emerging reporting, because the measurement and the monitoring of the ESG factor will be key in future. So, how to turn the ESG responsibility in a business opportunity, because I see there is a maximum possibility in, because combining innovation together with sustainability means that there could be a couple growth. Because the question is where your company want to focus on, which kind of selected areas are now in the spot, or all activities. From my perspective, what I have learned from my clients, please focus, because this is the only momentum where your ESG program could be effective in the end. And it's about integrity for sure, about people and partnership, because now we have the new dimension with the stakeholders, the third parties, where we have to be very sensitive, what does it mean? And so, a clear ESG strategy is anchoring in corporate values and as well in a management system to strengthen corporate resilience. To the resilience aspect, I will come later back. But what you see now, and this is for me the most important, how to see my outcome when I was reflecting since 2 years ESG topics, it is a sustainability reporting. Because it is having such an impact on people, processes and systems that sustainability must, and this is really a must be thought as a whole. All levels on strategy, business models, organizational structures and procedures, etc., etc. Because now CSDR reporting requires an introduction of new measurements and reporting procedures. And this is not easy. I have just learned it because I was with client together how to manage this. Because in addition, you have to have a robust GRC management system and implemented controls. So you see as well, there is a new COSO ISO recommendation how to manage all these requirements with regard to ESG. And involving third party to obtain the assurance report is a must. So what is your playbook for driving the ESG transformation? For me, it is a value-oriented investment and a forward-looking transformation process. Because if you see all the 4 elements, it is people, processes, systems, solution, and data. This is the main aspects you have to focus on. And this brings me back to the robust life cycle of resilience. And if you follow the life cycle, it starts always with good governance. Then culture of integrity is a must. The stakeholder management is important. And the risk management for sure. Now you have new dimensions there. And ESGT, because AI is for me as well the T in ESG, because how we report in the future with AI. And on the other hand side, talking about responsible AI will be the maximum factor in future with regard to the upcoming EU regulation. And it is about performance management. It is about crisis readiness and continuous improvement. It is a permanent life cycle. And there, this requires a courage to change in the leadership paradigms and change in culture, because culture is an essential foundation for modern corporate governance. And this brought me to the G in ESG and GRC as an anchor factor. If you look in this picture from the World Economic Forum, you can see where are the main spots. It is about leadership, values, justice and law. Supply chain is a maximum player. And in the core, you can see it's all about governance mechanism, defining corporate purposes, cultivating trust, and corporate risk management. And this brought me to another aspect, because you have to decide in your company which governance system should be reflected and established. Because ESG risks, they are not new. They are something old for us who are long in the compliance community and dealing with risk assessment, etc. pp. But the question is how to integrate them in the existing risk management system and how to expand the existing methods and how to involve other people more directly, because now we have to find and define an interdisciplinary team with all the other function of the assurance responsibilities, because just together we could be this kind of force who could manage this complex risk in a structured and coordinated way. It is about sharing knowledges. It's a complete new design, how you work together and what is the environment like. And so I would like to come as well to the design and evaluation of the stakeholder matrix, because with regard to the supply chain, you have to know who are your suppliers. The first one, the second line, in addition, now multi-players like NGOs, new partners, society arise, and it's important to embed them in the first moment you are thinking about the strategy and how to perform it in a perfect and effectively manner. Because involving stakeholders means knowledge sharing and to get new impulses for value creation. And again, ensure a coordinated, strategic and holistic approach, because then you are efficient and legally. So, this is an important thing. Culture, for me, accelerates strategy and moderates risk. Transfer a company purpose into a sustainability and integrity culture. The question is what follows from your defined ESG understanding in your company for the business, for operating and financial models, and as well for the competitive environment. So with emphasis, through in which kind of methods your ESG commitment will be pursued or achieved. You have to think about your ESG targets. You have to think about how to measure them. What are your KPIs, the relevant KPIs? Do you have enough resources? Do you have the right skill to go this new way of a journey, because you need different kinds of skills on the right table. And for sure, if you're designing initiatives, you need a concrete roadmap, otherwise you will be lost in the ocean of nothing. And so establish concrete ESG controls in the business processes. It is key. You know this already. These are the ICS controls mechanism, do ad hoc audits, etc., because it is so important with regard to the compliance of this new regulation to have there a specific spot on. And for sure, it is about training this new kind of mindset, because it's all about collaboration, a new path how to bring things on the table with a specific openness and mind sharing. And so for sure, what you need in addition is monitoring instruments for measurement of implementation. So, and this is a new culture dimension. It is a cultural change of risk and responsibility governance understanding. Now, the starting point is courage to open up new structures, new perspectives, internally and externally. It is to create a robust culture of integrity, align corporate values with company-specific priorities, and integrate these ESG factors in all decision-making processes, because you must be reliable as a company. And my perspective is that the compliance function is the ideal role to do so and to help, because it is transforming the increasing complexity of risk, including ethical risk, into, on one hand side, an entrepreneurial attitude of integrity, on the other hand side, of the willingness to take calculated risks, and thirdly, clear acceptance of responsibility. This is the only option where new networking models are the must, and not thinking only in a silo mentality, because then you are lost. This requires a complete new mind shift and new business leaders. And this brings me, from my perspective, to the part of the power of culture. You must ignite the human magic in the employees and in all teams which you are referring to and which you want to be successful in the ESG area. And this is a creation of inner cohesion. This means you need to design, as an executive, and from my perspective for compliance as well, a strong collective identity. And this means we need strongly a next generation of business, which strives for permanent self-assertion and thinks in network and ecosystems. So 5 characteristics items describe these characteristics, and this is the adaptability, continuous learning, ability to connect with others, and willingness to cooperate. And what I love, it's confident handle of complexity, because you have to go through this jungle and you have to peel it like an onion, skin by skin, to go through these complex requirements. And these kind of leaders, these new leaders, they can deal with the volatility, the uncertainty, the complexity, ambiguity of the new world of work. And for sure, as just mentioned, trust is a key factor. You have to make it possible that trust-generating methods are in your company. So, for example, speak up and listen up, because this creates the important space for openness in organization, to recognize blind spot in perception and voicing constructive criticism. This is key from my perspective. And so this brings me to the option how business resilience could be shared and what could it be focused on. This is business resilience requires forward-looking ethical investment in technology, in people, in ecosystem, and for sure in the supply chain. But, and this is the technical part, GRC management systems set the course for the new effective ESG transformation. This is the layer that is the infrastructure, otherwise you cannot handle it proper. But for the corporate, from the corporate perspective, the ESG transformation, there is key that you have a value-oriented culture implemented as a driver and as an enabler for all the things you want to design in future and what should be measurable. And so, and this is my last sentence, people are at the center of the value creation. This is the key, and you know it, colleagues. You can deal with this because you have the deep insight in your company. What does it mean and which kind of challenges are ahead? Thank you very much.